Hi, this is my KTM 690 Enduro R. It's a 2016. I probably already said that, huh? Anyways, I just want to go over some of the mods that I put on this bike and what I like and maybe a couple things I don't. Alright, so the first thing is noticeable is the seat concept seat. That helps for longer rides. If you do a lot of standing up in the dirt, it really doesn't matter all that much, but on longer rides it's a little bit more cushy. It's really good. On the back here is a pre-run rack, and has two holes, if you can see right here. These two holes will be threaded, and I'll be able to put a Rotopax there for 2 extra gallons of fuel, lots of tie downs, and then this connects into a rack which is made by Tusk that goes from here down to where the foot pegs attach, and you can put on either quick release bags or just like your soft luggage or hard bags. I only do that for longer trips. The next thing I'll go to is the wider foot pegs, and the wider foot pegs are nice. At first I thought, oh my god, they're going to hang out way too far, but once your boot is on there, it really is covering the whole thing, and it works out really well. So that's awesome. You'll notice right below that is a foot for the kickstand. It's just a wider foot, so that when you park in the sand, the bike doesn't just tip over, because it's just a little round nub. And so that's very helpful. And we're going to go up front, and the first thing I'm going to point out, if I turn the bars this way, you look in here and there's some mounts for the bars, and you can move them forward. A lot of people will put bar risers on, which I thought about doing. What I ended up doing is moving it to the farthest hole forward, and then spinning. Let's see if we can see this. These little things can spin around, and they're made so if you turn them this way, they're farther forward, that way they're farther back. So I have them both turned that way, of course, and then that makes the bars farther enough forward, turned up a little bit, and it's perfect without bar risers. And just in front of that, you're going to see my Trail Tech Voyager Pro GPS. Love this. It also has, and up here, I'm not sure you can see that, there's a little antenna, and that's for your rider buddies. It's like a buddy system, so you can see on the GPS where your buddies are up to about 3 miles away, which is just awesome. So you don't have to do a lot of waiting at trail crossings and stuff, which is just awesome. You just kind of go and you go, okay, they can see where I am and I can see where they are, and you just keep going. It's awesome. Just below the GPS, you're going to see this little box right here, and that's for Oxford heated grips. And you've got like 5 settings to hotter and hotter and hotter. That turns off automatically after about 5 minutes if the bike's not running. And these are the grips. I always love heated grips on my bikes. Just in front of that, you're going to see these levers, and they're adjustable levers, and they're supposed to be shorty levers, but they're just short right here. What ends up happening is they move it out farther, and that's where the bend is. So now when you pull it in, it hits your knuckles. So these really aren't shorty levers. I just keep the stock ones, go without these. It's possible that levers from a KTM 450 will fit these, and they make shorty levers for that, so we're going to try that next, see if that works. In front of that, we got the bark busters or hand guards, and aluminum ones are great. They're a lot stronger than just the plastic ones. And then you have a wind protection here, again, to keep your hands warm. So right back here, adjustable mirrors, so they just bump out of the way if they hit something. That'll save your mirrors. In front of this, in front of that, is just a small little windscreen. It just keeps a little bit more off your chest than normal. It's a little bit helpful. It's not a big deal. It's just a little bit helpful. And let's see, I think we'll go, actually let's stay on this side of the bike, and we'll go underneath the seats. So sort of some performance mods that I made, just to make the bike a little bit more responsive. I'll go into some history. I had a Husqvarna 701, and then I had an older 690 Enduro R, and I sold the 690 Enduro R and bought the 701 because I thought the 701 would be nicer with a little bit more power, and a little bit smoother running motor. But they put a different cam in it and another balancer for the motor, so it is a little bit smoother, but it moved the RPM range up for power for about 1500 RPM. And what that does is lowers where the power comes in, or raises where the power comes in. And on these, the power comes in a lot lower. So 1500 RPM lower, you have all the torque and all the power that you want. And for off-road use, that's where you end up using it. I mean, it is fun cruising down the highway at 70 miles an hour, being able to pull up the front wheel on the Husqvarna. But and it'd be the same with the 2021 or I'm sorry, 2020 KTM. They put the same motor and same cam in that bike. So for me, the 2016 was the option. Anyway, let's go to under the seats and performance mods, and this will bring the performance up to about the same power as that 701 was anyways, but with the lower cam. So air intake was the first thing, and that's Rottweiler air intake. It removes the big air box that fills this whole section, and it also gives you a little storage bag here. You can put your passport, maybe extra money, your pesos, things like that in there. Yeah, Mexico pesos. Let's see, then back behind that, this is the power commander unit, and I just have it stuffed in here, a little Velcro to hold it in place. So it has a power commander to remap the ECU with the air intake and the exhaust. And then just alongside of that is this little dongle, and that's a Ktm dongle. And that controls the ABS. So you can select the ABS the way you want it and leave it that way. So normally, every time you turn off the bike, the ABS turns on for both front and rear wheels, and I like to actually have the ABS off in the back and the ABS on in the front. The ABS is awesome on the front, but I don't want it on the back. So this allows me to just leave it in place. Those are about $100. And put the seat back on. And the next is the exhaust, and the exhaust is the FMF. There's a lot of solutions for the exhaust. I like the wings exhaust a little bit better than the FMF. FMF is a little bit longer. If it were about right here, I think it'd be perfect. And the sound of the wings is a little bit better than this. You'll hear it another time. All right, around this side. And let's see, two last things, I think are the last things. And one is a skid plate. So there's lots of options for skid plates as well. Flatlands is this one. It connects here, and then it goes underneath and connects again just in the stock location with KTM plastic skid plate connected, which is a good strong point. So the KTM Power Parts skid plate is similar to this, just a little bit smaller wings here where this protection is. I actually kind of prefer the KTM skid plate versus the Flatlands, but this one was on the bike, so I'll take it. The other ones like Black Dog, they mount up here, but then they mount way back here for the next mount. They skip this one, and then they tend to bend in the center. And they're a lot heavier, and I just didn't want that much weight. The next part is pretty important, I think, on anybody that's going to do off-road on these bikes, is to have a small skid plate for the rear brake master cylinder. This little banjo on the back will break off if a rock hits it. You can see how exposed that would be without this little orange plate here. And I bought this one off of eBay for 20 bucks. And it's just literally just a piece of aluminum bent this way and then bent back down that way to kind of go along this line. And then it has two holes here that are countersunk. I've got a little video on that as well. Super easy. I wouldn't spend the 60 bucks for the same thing, which is most places offer it for about $60. 20 bucks sounds about right to me. Next thing really is tires. You know, tires, changing tires, probably keep changing them, but this one is the EO7. It's the older style that had the center lug in it, and I've cut those out. Basically what it was is a smooth path all the way across this, and that can get a little squirrely on wet roads, so you cut them out. The new EO7, whatever it's called, they have it cut out, so if you're buying a new one, don't worry about that. In the front, I put the TKC 80, and I like that tire. They tend to wear pretty fast, but it'll last about as long as the back tire, so that works out. One more thing, and that is the headlight. So in the headlight, I made a modification for an LED, and there's lots of options for that. I've used Cyclops, and then I made my own. So this is, if you look at it and you see down in here, it's sort of a triangle shape. So it has two lights focused downward in the triangle, and those are for low beam, so you get a lot of light for low beam. And then when you turn on high beam, it turns them all on at a higher rate, and is on the top one, so then it's bright up and out. It actually works better than the Cyclops. The Cyclops has one on this side and one on that side, and if you turn on low beam, it's the same light and same light pattern. Turn on high beam, it's still the same light pattern, just a little bit brighter. I find this works better and stays out of the line of sight for drivers coming on. That's it. That's the KTM 690 Enduro R 2016.